The West Virginia Mountaineers, in their case in court, just got the right guy for the right job. Could the ball finally be bouncing our way, man?
You are Locked On West Virginia, your daily podcast on the West Virginia Mountaineers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
And what is up? Welcome back in, guys. My name is Mountaineer Paul. I am your host. This is Locked On West Virginia, baby. Well, we're talking about the Mountaineers again today. And man, look, we needed this news. I feel like I've got a pretty good explanation for you guys as to what's going on here, why it matters for West Virginia, and legal terms. So we're going to get there on that. Thank you guys for making this your first episode. We have no title sponsor for this one. So just thanks for joining in. And let's get rolling on this. So, all right, let me share screen with you guys real quick because I got to give the proper due here to, let me find him. Okay, so we've got Sam Ehrlich and Mitt Winter here, but the West Virginia football eligibility case has indeed been reassigned to Judge John Preston Bailey after Judge Klee recused, citing his support of West Virginia athletics. Judge Bailey, of course, ruled in 2023 that NCAA year in residence rule rule violated antitrust law. Okay. And this is everything that he wrote back then, I believe, on that. Elrich's been on top of this stuff. By the way, Elrich's a professor at Boise State, so he seems to know his stuff. Make sure you shoot him a follow. I guess I should as well here, as he continues to do this. And then Mitt Winter, who also does sports law, said this will be interesting. The most recent lawsuit challenged the NCAA's 5-year eligibility rule on antitrust grounds has been reassigned to the same judge who found the NCAA's transfer rules violate antitrust law. That ruling resulted in the elimination of transfer restrictions we know and sometimes hate, sometimes love today. So what does it mean? What does it mean in legal jargon and the whole nine? Well, as you guys read here, I think I may have let you guys read some of this yesterday, but this Jamori Robinson, Jeff Weimer, Ty Edwards, and Justin Harrington all have jointly filed here. And so what I'll do is I'll go over to my page. Hopefully this thing doesn't go off again like it did the one day. But what I'll do is all right. So we've already kind of explained. Let me get down to a place here where I can get going to my bullet points. So basically, they're going to argue that the NCAA's decisions are arbitrary, capricious. They breach contracts, and definitely, most importantly, violate antitrust laws by restricting their ability to participate after transfers, red shirts, and even COVID-19 impacts. They're seeking a preliminary injunction to play this fall while the case plays out, and they demanded a jury trial. This is lawsuit number 30 challenging the NCAA's rules. It's been a massive wave of litigation, guys. It really has for the NCAA. It's really chipping away at their iron grip on college sports, too, in my opinion. Another video I thought about doing. This will be in the U.S. District Court of West Virginia, as we talked about. Case 1-25-CB-00075, which was initially signed to Thomas Klee, who said, hey, I love West Virginia. I can't, with whole heart, reside over this case, although he'd probably like to. But this is where it gets juicy. He recused himself, citing his historical and public demonstration of dedicated and unwavering support of West Virginia athletics, which is what happened in the prior case, like Battle versus NCAA. And look, he said, I'm not going to be able to be impartial here, right? So what happens for West Virginia? That's the question yesterday. We didn't know. Well, that reassignment goes to Judge John Preston Bailey. And Mountaineer Nation, this is exactly where and why we're dedicating a whole episode to it, because having Judge Bailey on this case is a massive deal for West Virginia. And it's because basically if he goes against this, then it means he's, from my understanding, it would be a little hypocritical for him to rule against this, considering he ruled for Rahkeem Battle against a similar deal, right? So that's what makes this so good for West Virginia. It'd be like me saying I don't like steak, or I love steak, and then I love steak at Texas Roadhouse, and then going to eat steak at Longhorn and saying, no, I don't really like steak, right? Like I like steak. I believe this way. So just because the menu's changed or the venue's changed or the plaintiffs are different, this is still antitrust law. This is still basically a number of years or basically an arbitrary rule that's saying, hey, you transferred, so this applies, right? Why? Who says that? Why? And why should these guys have to abide by that when we're in this era of college athletics now? These are just old, antiquated, and arbitrary rules, man. So they need to go ahead and fall by the wayside, and let's get with the times. Understandably, in the beginning, there are going to be a lot of guys that play extra years due to, I mean, whether it's fortunate or unfortunate, I guess it depends on the team. But, due to the length that this is going to add to some players, you can even say, hey, look, we can knock 1 year off of JUCO. Maybe not all of it, but we can knock 1 year off JUCO, or whatever. Like there are a bunch of different ways you can go about it. Maybe you say JUCO just doesn't count, right? And it's like an extension of high school. Maybe it turns into the new semi-pro for college. Wouldn't be a bad idea. Like there's a bunch of different routes you can take it. But one thing's for sure. When guys are playing in JUCO, Bob Huggins once said, you know why I like JUCO players? Because they eat cheese sandwiches in JUCO. And I like guys that eat cheese sandwiches, right? They don't get treated well. They don't get promoted well. They have to self-promote, and a lot of times that doesn't work. And unless you're like a Jadeveon Clowney, who I don't even think played JUCO, but just saying, unless you're like a big high school name, or if you were a big D1 name that's bounced back to JUCO, you get very little public attention. Look at what Sincere Bowers did. Had any of us ever heard of him? And so I think this is one of the reasons they're saying, hey, man, if you're going to make this count against our 5-year clock in NCAA, it's not our fault that we were overlooked. So a lot of these guys, if you look, almost all these guys fell around the time during COVID when it was very well documented. And that's just something, if I were on this case, or if I were them, I would ask my lawyer, hey, can you also explain that this is all around COVID? Like, it's very well documented that coaches were very limited to where they could recruit during this point in time. So a guy like Jamori Robinson, how in the hell does Jamori Robinson get overlooked? Go look at him. He's 6'5", 260 pounds. Probably coming out, he was a little small, but a good coach could have projected him. And he's had to go from JUCO to UTSA. Now, I'm all for the UTSA time counting for him. I understand that. That's power. That's still Division I football. But to say that he doesn't need at least those couple years of JUCO knocked off to give him a little bit better of a chance at Power 4 this year, I think is a fair thing to ask for, given the way football is now. If none of this was happening with getting paid, then I would probably say, well, I don't know. But you're literally taking money out of people's pockets by saying, oh yeah, that entity over there that's not even associated with the NCAA. Like JUCO is not even, it's literally a different organization. It's governed by different people. We don't even know what they're doing, but yeah, you guys got over there. It's counting against your 5-year clock over here to play over there, even though it's not the same organization. Makes really no sense when you think about it. So they're basically saying once you hit 18, you got 5 years, which, I mean, but now you've seen the Pavia rules happen, the COVID rules happen, people redshirt, people get hurt. I think we just have to get used to players being a little older and probably bump this age up to 24, maybe even 25 in some cases in college football from now on. While it's hard to get used to, it'll be better for the sport on the field overall, so they won't be kids, unquote, unquote, anymore, but they're still going to be very young men. And I think it's, I think it's kind of cool that guys can possibly, instead of going to the NFL where they won't play much, could definitely play in college for a few extra years, even maybe, because they're on that borderline. So, there are definitely benefits to it. And once it catches up to itself, every team will have older players, and it'll be like it always has been in a sense. So, anyways, back to the breakdown. So, we talked about John Preston Bailey, which is a West Virginia name if I've ever heard one. So we've been tracking this whole thing in real time, guys. Every little update that's come out so far, I feel like, just to be honest, we've covered this more extensively than most people, right? I feel like we've covered this from the legal's perspective pretty well. We've covered this from how I feel about it perspective pretty well. Like, we've really tackled this in every aspect, multiple episodes. I would say at least 7 at this point. There's 6 on this eligibility issue since it came out. So we've really tried to be extensive on it. And like I said, Ehrlich's first post here today on August 5th confirmed the reassignment to Judge Bailey. And so what was that 2023 case exactly doing? Well, it was the year in residence rule, right? The transfer rule violated antitrust law, which used to force athletes to sit out a year after that second undergraduate transfer. But he struck it down, leading to the elimination of those transfer restrictions. Athletes can now transfer freely without mandatory sit-outs. Pretty big for player mobility within the transfer portal. But with Mitt Winter chiming in, and he quotes Elric, and he said, this will be interesting. The most recent lawsuit challenging the 5-year rule on antitrust grounds is be assigned to a judge who found some of these same kinds of rules violate antitrust law. So what does that mean exactly? Let's break it down a little bit further. The lawsuit and the 5-year eligibility rule. The NCAA limits athletes to 4 seasons of competition within 5 years, with wiggle room for red shirts or waivers, right? Like for injuries or COVID even, right? So these players have complicated paths in these cases because they've lived through different shit. They've lived through the COVID. That was weird time in and of itself. A lot of these guys have been out for multiple years. Jeff Weimer, you can look at Justin Harrington. Like, they both had to sit out multiple years. So, and that doesn't even include transfers, non-NCAA stints in JUCO, and just regular red shirts. So the NCAA saying, yeah, you've only got 1 year to deal with all that. You got 4 years to play your eligibility. And then outside of that, we'll give you 1 year to figure the rest of this out. If you get injured, you can't redshirt. If you redshirt, you get injured, we'll consider a medical redshirt after that. You might get a 6th year. If you play in JUCO and you get injured, you're probably screwed. If you play in JUCO and you transfer, if you played multiple years, you're up against the clock now because you're at UTSA. You better show them what you can do now, right? It's really not fair. And I think it does violate antitrust because the NCAA is creating a monopoly that harms competition. They're using pride of place, like we talked about, and essential facilities, which means pride of place basically means the NCAA is favoring schools over junior colleges, which they are. I explained to you yesterday that a 4-year graduate transfer has to get a 2.0 GPA, as to where a JUCO has to have 2.5. So continuously, you're not in our league. We favor these guys transferring within our rules. We don't know about you. You got to get an extra half-point GPA or 0.5 or however you want to say it. And then the essential facilities, which is the NCAA basically controlling access to different sports, right? So this is pretty much a fresh antitrust challenge to the rule itself. The reassignment to Judge Bailey is a big deal here because he's got a track record of siding against the NCAA in similar cases. Remember, Rahkeem Battle, guys, we were here for it. Another West Virginia-related eligibility fight. Well, he scrapped the sit-out rule, which opened in the portal wide. And his Bailey at the time was skeptical of NCAA policies that limit athlete rights, which could definitely favor our plaintiffs here. So what happens? The elimination of transfer restrictions. Bailey's past decision didn't just tweak things, right? It wasn't just like, okay, let's just amend this rule or make it a little better. No, it eliminated it. It was gone. The entire core It was a core NCAA restriction, right? It's gone. So if he rules similarly here, not only could it weaken, it could definitely modify the 5-year rule, which would allow extensions or more flexibility for what West Virginia and other teams and players could need to get on the field. So our roster, in turn, a lot better for 2025. In simple terms, guys, the reassignment pair is a precedent-setting judge who's already ruled against a similar case with West Virginia before, with a lawsuit that builds his own work. It builds on his own work. It's pretty interesting to me because it basically raises the odds of the NCAA losing this. I mean, that's the best way to put it. And I think it gives our athletes a little bit of a push in the pants here because we needed this. It's a big win for West Virginia in this case. And I think it could mean immediate eligibility for all these guys. It's a big deal, guys. So as of right now, no date is going to be set for the hearing. But Elric did reply to a fan on X saying none yet. So I'm going to try to get him on the show. I think he would be fun to talk with because with fall camp underway, we need things to move fast, right? This is a big deal, guys. Think about it. In a competitive Big 12, every single player counts. And these guys are difference makers at every position. Robinson will be one of the best pass rushers, if not the best pass rusher in the Big 12. Edwards could be one of the best power backs in the Big 12. Jeff Weimer could be one of the best possession receivers in the Big 12. He had 75 catches for over 1,000 yards last year, right? He's no slouch at all. And then Ty Edwards, we talked about him. Justin Harrington, maybe the most upside of all of them, 6'3", 212 pounds, moving over to safety. He's already started at Oklahoma. I mean, he's got a ton of upside as well as long as he's back from injury. So these are 4 massive additions. Each one's individually be massive. Obviously, we have an order. I think we want to see probably Justin or Jamori Robinson first. Obviously, that's number 1 overall pick. Then you probably want Edwards second. It's kind of close. Some people will probably say Harrington. Weimer, we've got a lot of receivers, but I do think Weimer would push for playing and even starting time. So, that's another one that I think they're all big in their own way. So curious to know what you guys think and how you feel. Do you think that this is something that West Virginia has a chance to win at finally? Is it finally going to come a time where West Virginia is going to win again against the NCAA when it used to be a time where we think we never would or could, right? So, yeah, this is going to be definitely an interesting situation. All 4 guys are going to be ruled against at the same time. And then at the end, from what I understand, the judge can basically rule separately on each case. So it's not a big W for everybody or an L for everybody. It's, hey, we're going to see all 4 at the same time. That's already in our favor. And then, boom, right? So best case scenario, I would say probably we're going to be lucky to get them back for the first game. But that's okay. As long as we can get a game under their belts before Pitt, I think that you have to think that helps, and at the end of the day, if you're talking about long-term goals for the conference, right? I mean, we got to get these guys back for the conference. Let's go to break. On the other side here, we'll talk about just a little bit more about this. Also, we got some stuff I want to talk about regarding freshmen. I think a couple other freshmen need to be mentioned that have been mentioned recently that can make an impact this year. We'll talk about that next. And this episode of Locked On West Virginia going to be brought to you by none other than Monarch Money. And we talk about Monarch Money in every episode because they're doing it big, baby. Monarch Money is what you need if you want to save money, guys. Save money. Right now, with Monarch Money, you can, by the way, whether you're growing your savings or planning a big purchase, it basically puts you in the driver's seat. It's like having your own personal CFO, right? That's the way I like to look at it for your finances. So if it's, budgeting your money, you want a complete financial command center, you can track accounts, investments, and spending in one place. So in addition to managing your money, you're also building your wealth. Take control of your finances today with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONCollege at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDONCollege for half off your first year. In segment 2, we're going to crack open a do, of course, aren't we, guys? So let's share the screen here let's go home to X, shall we? All right, let me get that off the screen for you. All right, guys, so here's what I'm thinking. Who would you like to see? Let me get this open really quick first. We don't have a ruling on when a decision is going to come yet, Raven, unfortunately. So I guess what we'll probably have to do is just kind of hope that I would imagine within a week we'll know. Within a week we'll probably know when the date is, and then we'll have a good idea after that. It shouldn't be too long though. Hopefully. But at the end of the day, man, it's still, it's still court, and court is not ever anything that can happen quickly, unfortunately. But I would say a matter of 5-6 weeks, we'll be really lucky if we get him before Robert Morris. But it could happen. I mean, look, with Patrick Morrissey, who is the district, look who we got as our governor. If there's one guy that could make this happen quicker, it's definitely Morrissey. So he literally knows everyone. So that's the thing here. This is more than home field. This is like home cooking to the 10th degree. Even though Judge Bailey isn't technically a West Virginia homer, the fact that he's ruled against a similar antitrust deal in the past is a big deal. If he had ruled against Rahkeem Battle the last time, then this would be horrible news, right? But here's the thing. I want to prepare people, like, he can still rule against them on this. It's not apples to apples exactly, which is why I want to bring this guy on to possibly talk about it, because, I want to see what the differences are. Are there any major ones, or is it basically the same kind of ruling? Because if it is, you're talking about you're a total hypocrite if you rule against them on this and you rule for the other one. So, but if there are differences, I want to know what they are. I'm definitely not calling this guy a hypocrite. I'm saying if they're the same kind of thing, basically, how can you change your mind, right? So, all right, let's so somebody that I've noticed this week that has been mentioned is Armoni Weaver, right? I told you guys Weaver is the kid that I had a lot. Remember whenever him and Camaris Bomar, when they both committed to West Virginia, he and Bomar were two guys that I really had a lot. Is it this one? Is that how you spell it? Make sure. Yeah, this is him right here, I believe. Quit it, honey. This doesn't seem like the same guy, though. I don't know, man. I thought I had his profile already on here. Yeah, here he is right here. So, West Side's Armoni Weaver is one of the best under-recruited corners in 2025. Max speed of 20.8 on this hit, stick, scoop, and score. Very impressive. Although I believe he's receiver. So say what you will on that, but you do get a good look at exactly what he can do from a running standpoint here. We'll try to pull up some stuff on him here. Oh, okay. I guess I'm not following him. That's a shock. I'm honestly shocked that I don't have this. I guess I've always just in the past looked up the huddle stuff. But yeah, let's check him out here. Here's some stuff that he does. So, as a guy that runs a lot of slot type routes, this kid can really go.
There you go. Good. That's good rep now. There you go. Good.
It's elite quickness.
There you go. There you go. Keep coming.
Yeah.
There you go. Good.
Now, one thing I noticed when he ran the 40 time for West Virginia, I was a little shocked to see. Let me see if I can find it here. You guys know I got the 40 times on hand. So Armoni Weaver was on there, I believe. Is he not? I thought he was. Yeah. 4.62. I just don't believe there's got to be something wrong about that. Now, I can't say that for 100%. I mean, maybe he's just quicker than fast, which is fine. You can totally win. Look at Wes Welker. Guarantee he ran a 4.6, 4.5, right? Julian Edelman, probably 4.6, 4.5. So, like, it's definitely possible. No doubt about it. You know, I didn't know a lot of this stuff happened during the offseason because I wasn't following him, or I would have already saw all this stuff. Isn't that unfortunate? But I mean, you know, this kid can really, he's got some crazy hand movement and leg movement. But you know, I guess let's get over to some highlights of this kid. Because I mean, you look at the ball in his hands, you never guess 4.6. You just don't. It surprised me, honestly. So we'll have to see. I think that he either had a bad rep or maybe he was a little nicked up when it happened. It's really hard to say. Either that or he's one of those guys that just play really fast with the ball in his hands. All could be possible, right? No, that's not the play, I don't think. There's a couple different plays with him that I really love. I think this is one of them. Yeah, this is Weaver underneath, right? I mean, as you can see here, he can go. I mean, that don't really look like 4.6, does it? So, I was trying to find. Maybe this is one.
Heavy attention if you're driving a black Mazda tag 852
Yeah, it is, but it's
AMC.
bad video. Well, here's what we'll do. We'll go to the huddle, and I'll bring you guys over there with me to it once the ad gets done playing. But I do want to shine a spotlight on Armoni really quick, because he is a very, very quick kid. And I've heard from several different people over the course since spring about him. And then I guess this is probably my fault for putting too much stock into 40 times. And that truly, honest to God, 40 times or maybe 10% of it, right? All 40 times tell you is what a guy's speed within 40 yards is. A lot of football's played within 40 yards, but it's also like it's a straight line. It's hardly ever do you go in a straight line on a football field. That's number one. You know, it only tells you a small sample about somebody. So I think I'm very guilty of it, getting too fixated on how fast a guy is 40 time wise. So, you know, just wanted to put that out there. But I do think Weaver's a guy that's faster than 4.6. I just think for whatever reason that day, I mean, I have no proof of this. I just except for watching these highlights here. This kid just don't look like 4.6. But I'm not trying to say 4.6 is slow either. It's like right there in between. Like you're getting pretty quick once you get at 4.6. 4.5 is what I consider fast, and anything below that's like blazing fast. But I mean, you know, so where he excels, in my opinion, and he's like I said, you know, you look around. Like I've read a lot of media this week as well. His name is being mentioned in camp as a performer and somebody that really stands out on the underneath stuff. So at West Virginia, this is exactly the kind of route you probably throw to Armoni Weaver. Underneath, right? Because why? Because he can do things like this. Watch all the cuts, the bobbing in, weaving in and out of traffic. And then if a guy's 4.6, most of the time, he's going to get a lot of yards if he gets in the open field. So, and he's probably closer to 4.5, like we said. And don't forget, Camaris Bomar was his partner, wide receiver. So, like, they were both just excellent. There's the touchdown on the picks. Might as well just turn that off. Just a little bit too loud. They're ringing cowbells and everything. This is in South Carolina, by the way. And I looked it up. South Carolina's a top 20. They consider South Carolina like top 20 as far as high school football. Whew, that route there, boy. He put that kid in the blender. Look at this route up here. Just a little stop and go. Nothing major. But, I mean, he glides across the field, like I look at this kid and think, man, he is a lot like the receivers that Rich Rod recruits. If you look at Darius Raynaud or Jock Sanders, these are in my opinion, those are the two gold standards. Darius Raynaud and Jock Sanders are the two best slot type receivers that West Virginia's ever had, right? Outside of Tavon Austin and a couple other guys. There have been a couple other guys too. But, I mean, those are the two, like, they were built like running backs. They're almost the exact same looking. Jock Sanders and Darius Raynaud probably look exactly the same beside each other. Has anybody else ever thought that? Like, I always thought when Jock Sanders was at West Virginia, he looks just like Darius Raynaud, plays exactly like him too in some ways. They were like running backs, that could run slot routes. And he's that kind of player. Probably by the time he leaves West Virginia, he's going to be a bit thicker. We'll see. I'm definitely excited to see, But, I mean, this kid can run. That's a crazy route. I mean, this is just way down in the end zone. Or these Hail Marys, Can I control it like this? Yes, I can. Okay, that helps. That's just running by a guy for a touchdown. Okay, so here he is at corner, it looks like. When playing a little tackle. I guess when you're getting recruited, you gotta play both. Here he is getting press man. Then the guy kind of backs off. But, I mean, just look at the level of speed compared. I mean, it's a nasty cut too. This nasty cut about 5 steps in. Boom. Nasty. Yeah, this kid will work, man, especially in a Rich Rod type offense. He's definitely somebody that you identify early as like, oh, yeah, he's definitely somebody. Now, does he have to get stronger? Probably so. Is he really ready for the beating? Probably not. Is he in shape enough? I have no idea. Like there are definitely questions out there, but I think this kid as a route runner is very advanced. I mean, you look at this route here, nice route on the post, and look what he does. It's a very, very underrated thing. But what do I say all the time? Once you cut in on your route, what do I ask that you do? Let me make sure I'm not. Okay. Just wanted to make sure that I'm not, looking at the comments wrong we're not looking at them wrong, but like a lot of times you guys will tell me I can't see this or something's not playing. Just wanted to make sure. But so on this route here, he cuts in on the post, but then what does he do? He flattens out, right? He flattens it out as the ball comes towards him. Makes it so much easier for the quarterback. Watch right here. Watch him flatten out and go horizontally this way. It helps. All right, guys, let's go to break. We'll do one more break. Let's see. I've already done both breaks. No, I haven't. Okay. We'll do one more break really quick. On the other side, we'll look at one more freshman that I want to talk about. We'll be right back. This is Locked On West Virginia, baby. And this episode of Locked On West Virginia is going to be brought to you by none other than 5 Hour Energy, guys. And we love that 5 Hour Energy shot for multiple reasons. And if you're the kind of person that wants to fuel up and turn it up with 5 Hour Energy transfusions, you can be that guy because it brings the bold grape and ginger lime flavors of your favorite golf drink, minus the alcohol, into a quick energizing shot. Whether you're sinking birdies or making memories with friends, it's a hole-in-one for your energy game. And to be honest, some days on the course or off it, you just need that extra boost to stay sharp and energized. Golf is all about good times with good people and good flavors, of course. The grape ginger lime flavor gives you your best parts of Clubhouse go-to without chasing down the bev cart. If you're free to go 5hourenergy.com today, that's the number 5, the word hour, the word energy.com. You can use my promo code LOCKEDONGolf to receive 20% off your first order. This offer is only valid to September 30th on one order and cannot be used in conjunction with other promotions. Also not going to be good on subscriptions. All right, we are back here locked on West Virginia in segment 3. Appreciate you guys for joining in. So let me find him really quick here because I forgot from the West Virginia homepage here. You can just go straight to a lot of these pages, which helps out so much from a just managing it all kind of standpoint. So, all right. Where is he at? Where is he at? We just did Armoni Weaver. I'm looking for him, guys. Apologies. It's in I forgot to move it over to by position, so I'm having to look through it's all jumbled up, All right. Where is he, man? Hoping to find it here any second here. All right. Well, it's because I've got all you guys watching me too. It's like I'm probably overlooking it. I could just look it up too if I have to. We did Cam Torber the other day. Obviously, we know I'm huge on him. Let's see. There's Ben Bogle, Chase Wilson, Hasty, Cutter, Lewis. Where's the? All right, now we're into it. Okay, finally. I was sitting here thinking, like, what the heck's going on? Am I overlooking it that bad? So, all right. Nick Taylor is a name that a lot of people probably haven't thought a lot about yet, and I can understand why that is. But let's check him out. He's actually got some tape that I wanted you guys to see, so this will be interesting. Taylor is a name that I've heard a little bit this week. Just said he's a really hard worker, and he's got some experience playing on the back end, right? He obviously played at App State, came over with the corners coach and safeties coach, whichever one he does. I sometimes forget. But, I mean, you look and see, like, this kid is a very good player. And you look at, like, some of the stuff he did at App State as far as in the last few games of the year. Like, if I look at his biography here, hold on, let me look at it. So he's 6'1", which is nice size for a corner, right? 190 pounds. He's probably bigger now. He was a freshman at App State last year. He played corner, obviously, last year for we know Sean Clark is. He appeared in 7 games, and he started in 1 against Georgia State. He played 150 snaps and really turned it on down the stretch as a guy they could lean on a lot. He played a lot of snaps down the stretch for him. And if you look here, like, he can play.
For Old Dominion today have kept points off the board.
That's a nice play by him,
Dominion today have kept points off the board.
I love how he fights it off and then comes back and makes the play. And what they tried to do, the rub route combination.
Old Dominion today have kept
weren't all the way there from my cat's going nuts behind me here. You weren't all the way there from a being right on top of him standpoint, but I mean, he gets the 2 hands on the ball and he comes in and knocks that thing straight out. Boom. And you see how he uppercuts that ball out. Great play by Nick Taylor on that play. So that's a fundamental you just don't see a lot. I mean, you do see it a lot, but it's one you need to see, right, out of players. You got one here as well.
But he's just been a monster the last
against James Madison, it looks like. Let's see. I believe that's him up here, but I ain't sure. Yeah. So he was at the bottom. What a play. What a play on the ball he made there. That's an athletic play. Very surprised to see that one. I have not seen that play yet. I'm very sure. So looks like they don't show the replay, so we'll show it. So here he is down here at the very bottom of your screen. And you see him get ran at, and then the ball gets tossed up in the air, and then I mean, look at that athletic ability there, man. That is what you call high pointing the ball, right? Nice play there. I mean, that's a beautiful looking. Look at the feet outstretched. You could tell he probably played receiver at some point. He did get pushed out of bounds, but I saw that play earlier, and I was like, man, that's pretty impressive. Look at him here. Look at the freaking vertical right here. That's crazy, dude. He's way off the ground there. I mean, he's like probably 35, 40 inches off the ground there. So, and you saw it on that play, actually. I wonder what his vertical is, man. This kid can jump. Oh, wrong one. Doggone, I did it again. Wrong one. At least we got it all the way back. All right. So try to go back to it. I mean, he got up there for that one too, didn't he? So he's got some athletic ability to him, but he's another guy that's got some experience, right? May not be the most experienced or anything like that, but I mean, if you look at him, he's got long arms. He's well built. There's a lot to him, man, like that I think would be kind of interesting. I mean, he even went on a visit to Tennessee. Pretty cool, So like he was getting looks, you could say at least. So and I'm sure he's way bigger than this now. So we'll see. I mean, he's just a name. That's all I'm saying. Wonder what he had did in high school here. You guys still able to see this? Yeah, you can. Let's see if here he is up here, number 2. And this isn't too far removed from what he was last year at and it looks like they had him playing some safety, linebacker, safety hybrid kind of deal. Nice run support tackle. Anyways, this is a kid. I just heard some things about him, wanted to point him out. So, and I don't know if it'll be this year, who knows with that. But I mean, with the way they're looking at things, it's like, I wouldn't be surprised if a multitude of different people played that we weren't expecting, with the way Rich Rod sounded today during today's press conference, which if you haven't seen that video, he called everybody soft and lazy today. We talked about that press conference earlier and whether he's just being Rich Rod or is it overblown, the whole nine. One other person I'm going to give some love to, which I know we can't watch any tape on him most likely, but a name William Green brought him up today as the very first person he reached out to that I think can have a real big year is Hammond Russell. I really do. I mean, he is just one of those dudes, man, that, probably for whatever reason, people can just don't think about as a big contributor for us. But I do think, I mean, you look at him here, he's 6'2", 210 pounds here. Oh, he's probably 70 pounds heavier now, easily. So there's a lot to like about Ham, man. A lot to like. So definitely excited to see what he can do for us. And actually, we tried to get him on in a couple of interviews, and things just haven't worked out. But I am going to hit him up again because I think he's one of those people fans would like to hear from for sure. Is this that famous first press conference? Yeah, I think it is. Boy, they didn't know then, did they? If you're soft or lazy, you ain't gonna play here, he said. They had no clue what was coming. But I remember this was the tweet. This is what made everybody realize, like, or at least, like, I guess maybe it was just me because not very many people saw this. But whenever Rich Rod said, "Take me home," he put the 2 hearts, gold and blue. I knew he wasn't going anywhere, So, and I actually reached out to him, which, as you can see right there. So, yeah, Hammond Russell, man. Another big one. And look at this Armoni Hansberry highlight pops up first thing. Am I still following him? I guess I am. That one breaks my heart, guys. I don't even want to go there. Hey, let's listen to this. This will be something cool. Chase Wilson, what do you got to say, brother?
Guys are flying around, being physical. It's been a long time since a lot of these guys have been in pads, so there's a lot of juice, a lot of excitement. We still got a lot of work to do to be ready for game one, and we're accepting that challenge, but really exciting.
This guy right here, y'all, I'm glad he popped up.
Guys are
Promise you, by the time midseason rolls around, everybody will be talking about Chase Wilson. I've been, and you guys know, I've been on him since the start. I'm a big Chase Wilson guy. And I told you the pitch they gave him, right? The pitch they told Chase Wilson was, come in here and be a Danny Stutzman. That's what they said to him. So I'm saying, hey, man, absolutely. We'll take that every day of the week and on Sundays twice. So we'll definitely check more of that out soon. I don't know what I've done. I've got a window popped up here that I don't know what to do with. But overall, let me just exit out of that totally. There, it went away now. All right. So thank you guys for joining in as my cat decided she had to have that perch up there. And I will talk to you guys on the next one. Big deal, obviously, today with the Judge Bailey appointment. I think it can't be overstated how important this is for the future of these guys. If you're new, if you're just getting on here or just seeing this, definitely go back and listen. I explained it and broke it down in very, very vivid detail as to exactly what this legal stuff means, what exactly the comparisons are, and basically in a nutshell, what we're saying is this. Judge Bailey didn't root, but he ruled for West Virginia last time. That in and of itself in a vacuum means nothing, right? But what's important is what he ruled on. He ruled on an antitrust violation that Rahkeem Battle was saying, hey, the year in residence rule, I can't play because of it. And the NIL just hit. You're not going to let me get my only paycheck? Heck, I'm from the reservation. Are you going to steal from me again? Like that's, I saw some of that out there, and I was rooting for him the whole way, and so we got the ruling. I think similarly, this is an antitrust violation that's saying, hey, you're telling me I've only got 5 years to do all this when the NCAA, it's not like it was 20 years ago when you went to the same school and something you might get injured, and that's a red shirt, right? That's why they call it burning your red shirt, right? You medically red shirt. Okay, I burned my red shirt. Or he's not physically ready or mentally ready. Okay, let's burn his red shirt, right? You got 5 years to play 4. But what happens when you go to JUCO and COVID hits? Or what happens when you go to JUCO and you blow your knee out? And it's during the COVID era when coaches couldn't even recruit normally. How is that these kids' fault? They were all in JUCO during those times. Every single one of them. Every single one of them were in JUCO for during COVID. So how is it fair to hold them to the same standard that just doesn't apply anymore to today's world? Doesn't work. So that's why these guys definitely need the benefit of the doubt, right? If you're going to rule on antitrust violation and a 1 year in residence rule, oh, damn. How you going to feel about 5 years to play 4 in this era? Oh, hell no. Makes no sense. So, yeah, definitely a lot to dislike about it. And I think at the end of the day, West Virginia comes out with the dub, and my cat will be happy in the background. Thank you guys for joining in. I'm going to jump off here. It's late, and I still have to eat a sandwich or something. Try not to eat too heavy this late. All right, y'all. Have a great rest of your evening. I've been here 9 hours today, so not quite the 15 I spent yesterday, but 9 hours, not a bad day of work, I guess. We'll talk tomorrow. Have a great rest of your evening. Have a great rest of your week. And we'll see what tomorrow brings. We got more press conferences coming. I'm sure there'll be something funny said there, and we'll cover it for you. Good evening. We'll see you tomorrow.